Hello, everyone. Happy Friday morning and welcome to First Take. Shay Cornett here with you. We got a full house again at the desk. I love to see it. Jordan Rogers, Evan Cohen, Jason Porty.
Evan, you didn't get the browns and tans memo?
Yeah, what the heck?
A little bit in the tie, but
That looks good on you, Ev. I'm impressed.
Oh, okay.
wow,
I'm
J-Mac.
Good fitting suit.
All right.
That's a
We're exchanging compliments early. Will this continue? We do kind of all upgrade it. We do kind of all blend, which is good. How are the Cowboys blending, though? They seem more eager than ever to get the season started after finishing last year 7-9-1. Remember, they missed the postseason. They got their eyes on the prize, though, in 2026. Lots of Super Bowl talk being thrown out by the Cowboys, including their quarterback, Dak Prescott, who showed up to camp in a vintage Cowboys Super Bowl 30 shirt. Look at that. Here's Dak.
Going into year 11, I'm not going to shy away from it. Like, when you don't have it, it sucks. When you don't get to play for it, when you're watching other teams play in the playoff, like there's nothing worse than that. And so, I said I'd be the quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys when I was 6 years old, and said I'd be in the NFL. And I got here. A lot of things in my life, I said I'd do, and I did it. And so, like, why shy away from that now? Why shy away from asking people to hold me to the same standard that I believe that I can accomplish and this team can accomplish?
All right, they're certainly not shying away from it in Dallas. Now, I think this is like the fourth time we've had the conversation about the Cowboys with the word Super Bowl in the same sentence. So, do you like that Dak is saying they're not shying away from Super Bowl expectations, J-Mac?
I do like it. Regardless of whether Dak says it or not, we're going to open up the show and we're going to talk about the damn Dallas Cowboys. That's just something that is going to happen this time of the year. And he has a shirt on. I think Dak Prescott was probably 2 years old when that Super Bowl was going on. So he knows nothing about it, but he's heard all about it. For this team, you look at it a year ago, this offense and Dak Prescott, they were unbelievable. And he put up. And every single year when Dak Prescott is healthy, he puts up in the regular season. When you wear a shirt like that, to me, what has to be different specifically to Dak Prescott, they have to be good enough, make the playoffs, and then once they get in, that's where we need to see the career performance from a guy like Dak Prescott. That's where we need to see him at his very best. The 300 yards, the 3 touchdowns, an unbelievable player in the playoffs. Because the last time we saw him in the playoffs was against the Green Bay Packers, and they were down 28-0 on a pick 6 before we knew it. So to me, I love the fact that they're walking in with these expectations, because every team in the NFL is walking in and they're saying, let's have the end goal at mind. And there's a picture of the Lombardi Trophy in the team meeting room, but there's only a few teams that actually have a legit chance to make it, and they believe they're one of them. There's a lot left to be desired on the defensive side of the ball for them to become that, regardless of how Dak plays. But I love the fact that as the leader he is, the face of the franchise, he is setting the tone for the organization. We're talking about it, but now it's time to put the work in. Training camp is here. Let's all do our part to make this a reality.
Let's acknowledge the biggest brand in sports, which are the Dallas Cowboys, okay? So when we're talking about the Dallas Cowboys, we're automatically going to go Super Bowl or bust because of the star on their helmet. But let's do it this way. Let's take a state that both of you have ties to. You played for the Titans. You played for Vanderbilt. Let's take the state of Tennessee. Let's put this entire roster in a Titans uniform.
Yeah.
Would we be asking them Super Bowl or bust? Like, how did we get to this point where we're talking Super Bowl aspirations? And that's not meant to be a shot at the Titans. It's meant to be not the biggest brand in sports, okay? So the Dallas Cowboys are a 7-win team last year. They added guys like Rashawn Gary, who the Packers were dying to get rid of. They added Jalen Thompson as safety. Okay, they re-signed their own in George Pickens. But how did we get from a 7-win football team with a first-year coach last year, Brian Schottenheimer, that everyone, and I mean everyone, always passed up on as a head coach, to now talking about Super Bowl aspirations? Yeah. Is it because of the star or the stars? That's what I don't understand.
It's because of the star on the helmet, 100%.
So this is not a Super Bowl team.
Well, no, because and here's the thing about talking about it. I love players that talk about it. I love players that have the confidence to talk about it. His hat said good. The defense can't be good. They have to be great. I don't care what happens on the offensive side of the ball. Honestly, it's fun to talk about CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens and these weapons and how much points they can put up. Don't care. If they're going to win or get to a Super Bowl, they need a top 10 defense. And last year they were the worst in a lot of categories. I can see them being better. You mentioned Rashawn Gary, Quentin Williams, Kenny Clark up front, Malachi Lawrence, a draft pick. They're going to be better. But are we looking at this roster, even with Caleb Downs, who's going to be a really good rookie as well, and go, this could be a great defense? No, we could go, they could be a lot better. They could be pretty good. Yeah. But good's not going to get it done in the playoffs on that side of the ball. And that's when I'm like, so cool. We can talk about Super Bowl, but let's talk about the defense.
And I think the reason we're talking about them as contenders, because going into last year, no one was. Like, we were talking about them as a borderline playoff team, but once they got rid of Micah Parsons, that kind of went out the window. I think what everyone was so impressed was with Brian Schottenheimer calling the plays, how darn good that offense was. I think no one really expected them to be that good. George Pickens to look like one of the best wide receivers in the NFL a year ago. So when you perform to that extent on the offensive side of the ball, now going into this year, you're looking, you're saying, well, if they can replicate that, and then with the additions they've made on the defensive side of the ball, starting with their coordinator and Christian Parker, do they have a legit chance? And I don't see them as contenders right now, especially on the defensive side of the ball, because of what other teams have done. You're not going to beat the Rams, to your point, without a top 10 defense. And we talked about this earlier, where you look at their defense. Last year, they gave up 511 points, the worst in the NFL. If they gave up 100 less points, they'd be at 411. That still is below average of 391 from a season ago. So you're talking about how far this defense needs to go? Like, can you make that type of leap in just year one with that many new pieces around you?
If we're praising them for talking Super Bowl, you both said, I like the players that do that. So let's project an improvement. Let's say they go from 7 wins to 10 wins. Okay? Second place in the division, don't make the playoffs. What happens? Like, why is that not on the board? Why is not making the playoffs and us sitting here in a year asking, is Brian Schottenheimer the right guy for the job, not on the board? You could say his offense looked great. He's not the offensive coordinator. He's the head coach. All 3 phases. All 3 phases have to look great. Philadelphia Eagles are damn good, in my opinion. Yeah. A lot of people believe the Commanders are good. People believe the Giants are going to be improved. So isn't it on the board for the Cowboys to have a big improvement this year, still not make the playoffs, and us then ask the opposite questions next year?
Yeah, we just don't usually do that in July, though. I feel like usually in July we keep it pretty optimistic. So I feel like that is something maybe.
Scrooge over here.
Maybe if out of the first month they come away 0-4 or 5, sure, then we're having that kind of conversation. But in July, the Super Bowl energy feels good. Back to the defense, though, really quick. This wasn't just last season that the defense was really bad. The last 2 seasons, Dallas's defense ranked last in points allowed per game, yards allowed per game, yards per play, opponent total QBR. Like, this has been an issue, okay, for the last 2 seasons. So monumental, not just little increments need to happen. Now, listen, the Cowboys missed the playoffs for the 2nd straight year last year, despite having a very strong offense, ranking in the top 5 in points per game, yards per game, and overall offensive efficiency. That's all positive on that side of the ball. So here is Dak naming their offense Gotti, which means the greatest offense there is. Keep that in mind. Here's why.
We're close to some historic things last year, and when you have the guys that y'all have all just mentioned, whether it be the Tylers up front or it be George and CD outside, or like I said, Ferg and Flo, and you almost call them the alternate guys because the other guys' names are so big, right? Why can't we be? And just, let's be the greatest offense there is. You've heard the greatest show on turf and all the other different nicknames, and each and every one of them, loved it or taking pride in it. And that's as cool as anything, is to watch them take pride in it and watch them talk about it and say it to each other. And it's the way that we've been practicing, and we're just going to keep pushing each other.
All right. The greatest offense there is. They're labeling it, the Cowboys. At least Dak Prescott is. Gotti, you like it or you hate it?
They're not even the best offense in the NFL. That's my problem with it. We're throwing around the greatest show on turf and historic offenses. The Rams are a better offense. They got more ways they can beat you. They can beat you on the outside with Puka and Devontae. They go 4 or 5 tight ends deep. They get in 13 personnel and bludgeon you to death. I mean, that was a team that could beat you downfield in one-on-one matchups, physically, running the football, and they have the MVP quarterback. They're not even the best offense in the NFL yet. I know it's flashy. It's fun to talk about George and CD, but come on.
I'm a huge Dak Prescott fan. Now they're doing this to themselves. Gotti, Irv Gotti, John Gotti. I don't know which Gotti we're talking about. What are we doing here? Gotti, this is what. And by the way, we say the greatest show on turf. Did Kurt Warner name them that?